Hey, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I have with me one of my favorite humans back yet again. Guess who's back? Back again, Dr. Uchi. Uchi, welcome back to the show.
Hey, always good to share time and energy with you, time, energy, and space. So this is good. I've been looking forward to this. And I'm like you. I love helping my colleagues and indirectly myself, because I know that neuroplasticity says anytime you teach something, it goes deeper into your own brain.
hmm
I love doing this kind of thing. So let's go for it.
Yeah, today we're talking about authentic chairside conversations, you guys. Uchi talks a lot about health, well being, staying relevant, staying young, staying fit, knowing what's in your everything, your body from mouth to gut to everything. You talk about it all, Uchi. So, how do we have that conversation with our patient about things that we can see, right? We can see what's going on, but we need to bring it up.
I get that. You know what? It's funny. Wellness is a massive a part of everything we do. Like everyone seems to be getting the food they need. We have access to everything we need. Wellness is a common theme. And I think a lot of dental professionals perceive wellness as being about probiotics and changing amalgam to porcelain onlays. But wellness goes far beyond fluoride, it goes far beyond red and blue dye. Wellness is a philosophy, it's a mindset. So, and if someone's doing it strictly just to market themselves and they don't live wellness themselves, it's going to come across very contrived and studied. A lot of people do it as a way to get new patients. Patients, if you get a wellness driven mom or dad in your chair and you're only doing it to change their amalgams to porcelain onlays, they'll soon quickly know that you doing wellness is more to benefit you than them. So authenticity means really seeing the relevance of looking after the human body. And it's much more than just dentistry and chemicals. Wellness is a mindset, it's a philosophy, it's an essential part of who you are. And I think patients looking for it see through the veil of fakeness really quickly.
Yeah, it's hard to. I know in dental hygiene schools because I taught there for a long time and I was just program director there.
Wow.
What we of course we take the classes in nutrition and we do the 3 or the 5-day diary and we learn what we learn. And when we come across those patients that we're seeing obviously are struggling from intraoral conditions, from things that they're saying, we can see that they're stressed, we can see what their skin's doing, we can all the things that we can notice chair side. Where do we start with this that's immediate? Because it's hard to one motivate to say the right thing, to know what's going to resonate with them, right? So where would you start with those things?
Yeah, great question. Plus, you got to stay on time. Plus, you got to look at your
Yeah.
productivity. Plus, you got to
Yeah.
look at who's hearing you next door. You go into a 10-minute treatise on the food groups, you've lost the patient and you're not billing for it. So I think a big part of it is how you show up.
Mhm.
And are you showing up rested? Are you showing up that you've chosen whole foods to eat at breakfast time? Or is your posture straight? Is your own mouth hydrated? Do you floss or use a water pick or power floss yourself? But I think many times that's a difficult conversation. We're always amazed at how we can't convince a patient to get a crown or full mouth rehabilitation or to convince them to come in every 3 months for hygiene. We're like, I just given you all the proof. I've talked about it for 1 minute. And they have a 17-year-old son who still doesn't make his bed. So if you have a 17-year-old son that still doesn't make their bed and they live with you, and why are you wondering why you can't change this 45-year-old bank manager into flossing under their bridge or to floss properly around their implant? So there's something about not living it yourself that comes across unconsciously. You'd be surprised how that
Mm.
unconscious belief in wellness comes across. And they can tell you don't. And it's not just smelling like a drive-through or your fingertips are yellow from smoking or whatever it is, but it's a mindset. That's why I really wanted to share with you this morning about this whole philosophical thing, like authentic communication. It's much more than a memorized script. I get people asking me, Ooch, give me a 2-minute script on getting people to yes on a case presentation. You memorize a script, it's going to come across like a soliloquy. And that's not how we talk to each other. You go out
Mhm.
for coffee or dinner or lunch with a good friend. It's not an intro, 10 points and a conclusion. It is an eclectic, organic conversation. And that's the conversations that happen outside the dental office. So we have a scripted conversation chairside. It doesn't seem real. And then you don't have real communication or connection with your patients. So there has to be an essential philosophy that happens. And it must come across very real. Like as you know, we project our energy. When someone
Mm.
walks into a room, you can tell healthy, not healthy, sad, not sad,
Yes.
judgy, not judged. And I think patients feel that right away. And we like to memorize, dentists and hygienists and assistants, we like to memorize stuff. Memorization, save it for Toastmasters. We want organic communication.
Love that. You said so many things there. That connection with the patient because of how you are living your life. Now, Uch, I can tell you, it's way easier for me to talk to someone about their case presentation than it is to get my teenagers to make their bed and bring down all the dirty cups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We all have the
That just
teenager with the plates and saucers and the Tupperware with the moldy tomato in it. Why is there a moldy tomato under your bed? Like, so if there's a moldy tomato under your teenage son or daughter's bed, guess what? There's probably a pericarditis around that patient who doesn't want to get that wisdom tooth out. So, yeah, I think when we do it ourselves, it becomes so easy.
Mhm.
Warren Buffett lives financial freedom. He does the dollar cost averaging. He only invests in company that he knows, and that's why he's so authentic in his communication, and it's his essential self. But a memorized spiel where someone's not living it, it
Mhm.
comes across, and people that do have an easier time with their communication. If someone has an easier time with friendships and getting to the point, patients feel that, and I think it's rare, but those dentists and hygienists and assistants have more fulfilling relationships when you have real communication chairside. And it's not all talking. It's like how you stand, how you act.
Yes.
Telling a patient, I'm going to give you a little break here. And be honest, it's for me too. Wow, that's honest for a hygienist or a dentist to say. And that little break could be just have a swallow. I see the saliva building up. It's essentially being able to predict what's going on ahead of them. You see someone falling asleep during a hygiene appointment. You don't want to judge them the whole way through, but you know what? You fell asleep at least 4 times, Steve, during the hygiene appointment. We really should asking the dentist about a sleep study. I think it's
Mhm.
important. You're 42, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, you've fallen asleep 4 times. I'm concerned. I'm concerned. Now, you put it that way. My dentist, they'll say, my doctor's been asking me for a sleep study for years. And now we've said it in a way that looks like it's honest caring.
Yeah.
Honest caring.
And you're noticing things. It goes back to what I think is motivational interviewing. You're tuning in, you're intuiting what a person is not saying. You're picking up on those subconscious things that they're not saying and tuning in to also what they're telling you that's important to them just by what they're saying, how they're acting, how they're reacting. You're reading their body language.
It's so nice to be watched and observed. Like I think Deepak Chopra talks about, we all want these 3 A's: affection, attention, appreciation.
Mm.
Affection can mean just moving your head gently, not like, move, come on, up, 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 up. How many people say up, up,
Oh,
up, up, up? Oh, that's gentle.
that annoys me so bad when I see that in practices. They're like, "Move your head to the right." I'm like, "Why are you touching your face? And why is
Yeah,
it with the dirty gloves on?" Now they have
yeah,
all of that back in their mouth.
yeah. Appreciation means the beginning of the appointment. Thank you for coming in today.
Mhm.
Um, I remember I didn't do that at all until I went to a chiropractor one time.
Mm.
And when he finished the treatment on me, he said, I want to thank you for coming in today. So not only did he get my $45 for the adjustment, he was actually thanking me for taking the time. And I thought, that sounded so good to me. That sounds good to me. So I would say I do it every time. I'd say I do it more often than not, where if I'm hygiene patients and I'm doing the recare exam, I'll say, thank you for taking the time to invest in your body today. It's incredible. Because
Mm.
I'm a busy mom. I said, no, I know you're a busy mom. It's incredible. So that appreciation, right? The affection part is just, oh, could you please just move your head up slightly? Could you please just move your head up slightly? Sounds better than up, 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 up. Open, 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 open. Like, I'm not a poodle. And then attention. And then attention, not looking away when I'm talking. So I'm talking to you. I'm not like looking at someone at the door who's trying to
Yeah,
get my
doing
attention.
note.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah.
And, my doctor sometimes will actually, and I know they're busy, but if they're typing away, they just say, "I'm writing down what you're saying." Because I think, are you booking flights on Expedia? Like, as I'm telling you, like, so, what you're saying is so important. I'm just gonna make some notes as you're talking. Wow, that's attention. So
Yeah.
Deepak Chopra says affection, appreciation, attention. And if you give another human those 3 things, you'll have an unstoppable personal relationship. You'll have an unstoppable chairside relationship. You'll have an unstoppable boss employee relationship. You'll have an unstoppable team member appreciation, a spousal relationship,
Yeah.
attention, affection, appreciation. And none of those cost anything. There's nothing to download.
I love that you broke it down like that because these are things that I mean, we could just talk about that,
Yeah.
Uche. It's like the things that I am doing, because as you're talking, I'm like, do I do that? I do that. I do, yeah, I do that. And it carries over to every part of your life.
Mhm.
And it's the, do you care? Do you mind if I take notes while you're talking? Because I want to capture what you're saying for the doctor and for your health history. And just like when I go into a job interview, do you mind if I take notes?
Mhm.
Because that tells them that it's important, right? It's those little things that you're saying that are acknowledging that they're going to notice that you're taking space by doing another activity, but you still want to be present for them. So, a lot of it, I believe, is being present for that person is where that starts. And going back to what your original point was to be present for yourself and to know what you need for self. So you can center and rein in any emotions or distractions that you're experiencing, and we're pretty good at that as dental professionals, but sometimes those days we can feel the temperature rising as we're sitting there waiting for doctor, or doctor is running behind. They're in the middle of a procedure. It's hard for them to get up from, and there's 5 hygienists that they're going.
But
But to be aware of that.
you know what though? There's ways to get around it. You can almost use it as a marketing term. This office has grown so full with patients wanting to be a part of what we do here. It looks like the doctor might be more than 10 minutes. I know your time is busy. Did you want to come back for a separate visit as an exam, or do you mind waiting? And then patient says, you know what? Thank you for asking. I got all the time in the world. I don't mind waiting. And say, can I put you in another room? But I'll put the TV on and give you blah, blah, blah. But just to acknowledge, like, let
Mm,
me decide if I want to wait or not. But if they said, you know what? My time is busy. It's a 3 month recall. I know it's important for you to get recall, but looks like the doctor's gonna be at least 15 minutes. You know what? I need to go. I'm picking up my son at 3 o'clock. And now you've made them feel important. It's
yeah.
attention, it's appreciation, and it might be no physical touch or that way, but always looking at those three things definitely supports good communication. And that's where a brand new hygienist or dentist, even though you might not be clinically as good as someone who's been out of school 25 years, you can be just as good or better as the senior dentist or hygienist by having those three human connectors: affection, attention, appreciation. That's where you can like be really come to the fore. And everyone notices it. Wow, that new hygienist, so regulated. And I think that's what Andrew Huberman said on his podcast. One of the goals of being a good human being is emotional regulation, which
Mhm.
means knowing what's important to you, paying attention to other humans in your environment, realizing you can't do this alone. There's so many things that becomes emotionally regulated. He says that's probably one of the most important things we could do with our nervous systems is to be emotionally regulated. Wow. Doesn't
Yeah.
cost money. You don't need Chat GPT for that one.
And it's being regulated, I think, in the moment. Because I know the last few weeks have been so stressful for me personally. I don't know what's going on in the universe, but just I can feel it going like this. And I'm going, okay, I'm going into fight or flight. I don't know why. It's not essential that I am answering all 5 texts that are coming in right now and 12 emails per second. What is this really about, Kelly? Okay, step away, go walk, reset my regulation by getting out, getting some sunshine, getting some movement. So what are some tips, Uchi, when you're in practice and you want to reset your mind to recenter that you've seen that work for people and through the studies that you've seen?
Yeah, I think pause before answering. Most people think they have to answer a question immediately,
Mm,
but pausing before answering actually is a compliment to the person asking the question. You get the time to inhale through your nose. It's almost impossible to think dysregulated thoughts inhaling through your nose because the brain is a slave to the breath. The brain is a slave to the breath. And if we're inhaling through the nose, your brain goes, oh, you might have 4 emails on the go and in the middle of a text, but you just inhaled through your nose. It must be something you enjoy. So inhaling through your nose, pausing to respond, and reframing. I love that whole idea of looking at it differently. You might have, 10 different people that need you. That is a dream spot that you would have asked for when you first started out on your own as an
yeah,
RT. To
yeah,
have text, multiple deals, an agreement to scan in, to give your bank account statement for a direct deposit for a future event. You dreamed about that day.
I did.
Your exotic car needs detailing. You've dreamed about having an exotic car. So instead of looking at all the things that aren't be done, think, you know what? 5 years ago, or when I was 18, this would be my dream day. So at that point, you go from discontent to appreciation. And if the universe answers our feelings and our appreciation, we're going to get more stuff to be appreciated for. But the more we're resenting and irritated and feeling um, caught between three opposing forces, the more the universe goes, hey, it seems like you put a lot of energy into feeling hectic and needed. I'm going to give you more of those feelings. And it becomes a vortex of need and need and need.
Agreed.
So I think, and again, it might be cliche, but again, some of the foundational things to be happy are cliche. But taking a breath, reframing it, being grateful for having all these opportunities.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden things happen at the right time. Hey, the person on line three left a message. They said the agreement does not to be till next week. And doctor, can I just say you look great in those scrubs? So there's a few things that happen when you're grateful, and they all lead to having an easier time at this life. So, and this all helps you have a better time. So, how you show up in the operatory before the patient comes in, the patient feels your commitment to hygiene or dentistry. It feels your commitment to their oral hygiene. It feels it when you say, "Thank you for coming in today." If we just started off every patient interaction, I was like, "Thank you for coming in today." That now you don't mind
Mm.
exchanging money for service because he or she just thanked me for coming in today. And it launches a good hour. It launches a good two
Right.
hour appointment. Thank you. I want to say thank you for coming in today. Thank you for coming in and asking me for a consultation. Instead of like, wow, you asked them, this marketing's paying off, you know. So it's interesting how a thank you goes a long way. And these are things our grandmothers and great grandmothers have been telling us. But some of the foundational ways to have a happy life is basic. You know, the basics are something a new hygienist or new dentist could use right away, and they don't need to wait to go through, you know, 4 different postgraduate programs to become better. You can just shape them a bit by being a better human being.
I like the fact too that in offices, when you're in an office and you feel yourself hitting a ceiling or your emotions are rising, that you have almost like a accountability partner or a person who you can go to say, "Listen, I need for you to be there for me just to listen, hear me out." My daughter called me last night, and exams and finals and all of that are escalating. And "This is wrong. This is wrong. I can't do this. I've missed the questions on the test." And I said, "Okay." I let her finish. And I said, "Okay, now I want to hear three things you're grateful for." And she says, "I don't want to do that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm done with the conversation." "No, no, no, mom, I need you." And I'm like, "Okay, three things you're grateful for right now. And then I need for you to get your butt outside and get some vitamin D because you need to mix this up. You need to get all of that cortisol off of you." But a person at work or in life, right, where you can say, "Just hear me out." But the person that will say, "Okay, now that you've said that, what's positive about this? How can you reframe that? Now tell me how you feel and let's move forward. What are you gonna do now?"
That's so good. I love that interaction. Obviously, you're a great mom, and that's what a great interaction to have with a person. And it's almost like you're having little mini master classes with your child, you know. But what a great way to parent. I think a lot of parents think they complain about the dishes, the clothes, the laundry, but that could be you could be replaced by a nanny and a cleaning lady. So if all most people think of being a dad is just uh, providing, or the single mom who's working is providing. If that all you do is provide, you can be replaced. So there's the intangibles that makes you irreplaceable.
Mm.
So if a parent all they think they do is provide, if all they think they do is do laundry, clean up, and get them out of bed on time, that's replaceable. But I think to have meaningful conversations is rare. But to have those, that is true fulfillment as being a parent. I talked to someone the other day that said they don't think their dad taught them anything. They
Mm.
got no real life advice from dad. Or maybe it was advice from the person's dad, but didn't do it in the way the son wanted. But they said, I never learned anything from my dad. And now that I have a mentor, I've learned that would be sad to think your son or daughter is learning more from a mentor than they ever had from you or him. And I think we've done our kids a service. We gave them Tupperware and good lunch, picked them up at school on time. But your kid wanted some master class in being a good human. Like a lot of parents aren't doing the master class in being a good human. They're so busy uh, getting the clothes cleaned and giving them pizza money, they forget that that's replaceable stuff. It's the intangibles of having little mini master classes, maybe once a day on stuff. So your kid, what says long after we're gone, I learned so much from my mother.
Mm.
My dad was my biggest role model. Wow. So, and those are all things that don't cost much. You know, providing you could be replaced by winning a Powerball. By keeping the house clean, you can be replaced by a nanny or a cleaning lady.
Yeah.
But having those little mini master classes, like your desire to reframe for your daughter, that's where it starts getting incredible. So
Thank
bravo to
you.
you.
Thank you. And then thank you. And then to know that they can call and that they want to call and still talk to mom when they're 20, 18, and
Yes.
when they're 14. But I think this also relates, Uchi, to to how we are as providers as well, because we can show up, anybody can do a DO composite, anybody
Yep.
can do a prophy, whatever that is, but it's that human interaction and reframing that experience for that patient. So they are learning from you. I love it. Some of my favorite heartfelt words are, nobody's ever told me that. And I'm just so grateful for 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 you changing my life. And I'm like, wow, all I said, I'm thinking all I said was da da da, da, and I was just doing this. It's just part of what it's just part of who I am. Right. But us taking that time and being present and reframing and figure out what is important to our patients changes their lives, because it's how we have seen that. We've had those experiences. We can read from a book. Some of us, like Uchi was telling me, most people, what, 80% or more don't read a book after high school? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's the going. That was 20 years ago. It's even less now, obviously. People just say I don't read anymore. I just do Spotify. That's
It's great. I mean, look at us, right?
yeah,
I mean,
for
my
sure.
my bookshelf extends to your bookshelf and our
Yes.
and our thing here. But with that, you can read any book and you can have that knowledge, but it's how you are making that connection when it comes across, because if people don't feel connected, they will not trust you. And it's in those pauses and treating people truly like you what you were talking about, our grandparents. Treat people the way that you will want to be treated by that, by being present. It's my parents were so busy providing growing up that it was, but I was there to take you to soccer, but I was there to do this, but I was there, but I learned that I could rely on them. Do your
Yeah.
parents rely on you? We're so burnt out, Uchi, that we forget why we are doing what we're doing. And so that reframing for ourselves is essential. Of why did that, it's the existential question that people have been asking, I think, since 2020, of what's your why? And it sounds so simple, but so many people don't realize what makes them happy.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, you go to conferences, and the most popular courses are the clinical courses. Clinical courses, how to prep crowns faster, how to be better at producing, how to collect money better. But you do a course on the intangibles like communication skills, conflict resolution, leadership skills. There is 4 seats in a room of 150. Everyone thinks they can solve their problems with the clinical things. Few people realize it's the intangibles where most dentists run into trouble. It is my job fulfilling as a hygienist. So most of these, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. It seems like everyone goes towards how to prep a crown faster courses, how to do 6 veneers in an hour, how to do direct composites, blah, blah, blah. But who's really going to the intangibles where at the end of our life, God says, how'd life go? I did 35,000 direct composites without shrinkage. And how'd that feel? Well, not very good. I haven't talked to my son in 22 years. So there seems to be an element of we don't discover to the end life was much more about than doing your productivity. It was much more about the intangibles. Did you do master class conversations with your family? Did you have fulfilling friendships? What have you given back to? How will you be remembered
Mm.
2 and 3 or 4 generations from now? And for some reason, the speed of your preparations and how well you're scanning in, or how well your endo treatment was, is not the discussion on your deathbed. And most dentists make that decision and say, you know what, it's about the relationships. Well, learn that at 26 instead of at 76 or 86. It was all about my friendships. My patients became friends. Well, did you go to any how to create better relationships that are how to have better relationships with your friends on conferences? No, I went to all the crown prepping courses. So this conversation now is about the intangibles, how we can get more enjoyment and fulfillment by organic conversations, not scripted 2-minute things to fix my patient. Thanking the patient when they come in. And look at that. Am I doing interactions? Do they have the 3 A's: affection, attention, appreciation? And I know if no one's jotted down notes during this podcast, they're not going to learn anyway. I've always said that if no one's taking notes during a podcast or lecture, zero is retained. And if they don't actually share what they've learned to someone else within 24 hours, the retention is 5%. So someone should have written down notes, which means they're a serious student.
Mhm.
And someone should be texting their mother, you know what, mom? In my next conversation with my mother, I'm going to have a conversation that's full of appreciation, attention, affection. And now they know this learning happens. So I love it when I see learning happening. And that's me. I went to a lecture the other day with Malcolm Gladwell. He's a New York Times bestselling author,
Yeah.
written 8 bestsellers. There was few people. There was probably only about 3 people taking notes out of an audience of 3,000. I was taking notes because I didn't want to leave without writing down the pearls of this Canadian dentist, not dentist, Malcolm Gladwell, Tipping Point, Blink. outliers. Why do I want to get away with the stuff I'm going to remember? So that's my
Is
deal.
because they can write it in a book, but when they say it or when you're hearing them present it, it just hits you differently. Because they're verbalizing it and you're going, "Oh, wow, I just experienced something like that." And that relates to me now, which I don't know about you, but I reread books, and that's why I usually buy the hard copies. I just bought another book the other day because it's about how to have conversations and how to, when people try to bulldoze you. It's how to have every kind of conversation that there is because communication is the DNA
Yeah.
behind every relationship.
Mhm. Yeah, the quality of life is the quality of communication. True. But the inner dialogue is where the happiness is.
Yeah.
You can have great outside conversations, but if your inner dialogue is self deprecating, disparaging, not feeling worthy, not feeling lovable, you can't even enjoy the conversation that you're having. So that inner
Right.
dialogue is number one. So the quality of life, I think, is the quality of your inner communication, your inner dialogue. And that starts with
Mhm.
looking in the mirror in the morning and saying, wow, I get another day at this thing called life.
Yes.
You know, that conversation. What do you say to yourself silently to yourself? We never actually, and that term is called metacognition. Metacognition is mean being aware of what's happening and what you're saying. Most of us do things mindlessly and
Mhm.
unconsciously, but metacognition is catching yourself. If someone thinks, I'm going to start thanking my patients when they come into the room and say, I want to say thank you for coming in today. I know it's a busy day, it's a busy life. I caught myself doing what I heard Dr. Tanner and Dr. Uche talking about. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. So I love that term metacognition.
Yeah, I do. I do too. I love organizational metacognition. To your point, I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of things every day. Start my day with meditation, like you do. A lot of rituals that are so important for self. I hear people talk poorly about themselves, and they don't even realize it. They call themselves stupid. That was so stupid. That was Why would you ever do that? I mean, all these things that we say to ourselves. A while ago, I was doing something and I'm integrating a new software with one of my companies. And I said, Kelly, well, you just learned that, didn't you? I was talking to myself. I was like, wow, okay, I didn't get that the right way, but I just learned that. Or wow, okay, you're getting faster at this. And I've been talking to myself all week intentionally. It's that inner child, that inner dialogue that usually forms when we're a child from the mother father figure in our lives. That is that story that we keep recreating for ourselves, and we need to realize when it's not serving us.
Well, I love that. That I am, like how I identify. I, few people say the words "I am" without saying what they're missing. I'm so bad at names. I'm such a bad driver. I suck at. I am, and it always follows something. And it's not even humbling. What it is though. And I looked up the word the other day, and the word abracadabra it says words speak and they spread fertilizer on our lives. So when you say abracadabra, when someone said, I'm so stupid, I'm such a bad dad, I'm such a bad mom, I'm such a bad mother, you're literally casting a spell over your
Mm,
life. And the words abracadabra has an origin from 700 AD, and it's Aramaic, and it means I create with my words. I create with my words. I'm losing my mind. I'm such a bad mom. I'm so bad at names. I am. And the minute you fill it with something that's negative, your poor spirit goes, she's missing something, or I feel so sad for him. And then that whole imposter syndrome comes up. But you're literally creating the life that you don't want. But by saying
yeah,
the word I am, you're literally conjuring up or casting a spell over your existence.
yeah.
So and even then, I'll try and tell friends that I never say the word I am with something negative after. And it's not out of arrogance or saying, look at me. I'm just saying I will not put myself down outside. People
Mhm.
do that verbally all the time. So if they're verbal sentences or I am it is bad, inner is a judge, jailer, and executioner on the internal dialogue.
Mm.
A judge, jailer, executioner. If I'm saying I'm such a bad dad, I'm such a bad mom, inside I am in solitary confinement with my thoughts.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Mm.
So powerful. The one that I hear people say, even when they start in their 20s, is, "I'm getting so old."
Mm, yeah. What the hell is
My
that?
son said that. He's getting taller than me, my 14-year-old, and I mark him on the wall, mark all my kids on the wall.
Nice.
And then I stood up straight and I said, "Look, now I'm taller than you." He's like, "But you're shrinking, mom. You're getting older." I said, "No, no, no. What do I always say?" He goes, "Nope, you're getting better." So we do this every day. I'm
To
like,
teach that early, that's one of the biggest gifts I think you can give your kids is they won't have to go to an 8-week course on how to get rid of your imposter syndrome if you make your kids feel powerful. I think one of the biggest gifts we can give our kids and make them feel unstoppable. I want my kid to have it feel like he or she is unstoppable instead of like, oh, the last thing I want is an overconfident child. The rest of the world will beat you up enough. You do
Yeah,
not need to bash your kid to make him or her feel humble. I want an unstoppable kid. I want to launch them feeling the world is my oyster. I don't want 30 years of therapy to learn it at age 52. I want the world is my oyster. So why can't we launch a child? And then you will stand further ahead when you become a hygienist or a dentist. You will stand further ahead and you won't have self-esteem issues or is my work important or I don't think I did enough because you got this launch from age 10 to 8. And obviously they're listening to us. If mom's saying, I'm so bad at this, I'm so bad at names, I'm so bad at numbers, I got to write everything down. Basically that said, your kids learn by modeling. I think Albert Schweitzer said the best teacher is living by example.
that's
You might
right.
say it to your kid, but you're still beating yourself up. So the metacognition of what people are listening to us is thinking, I do want to become that light of I amness, but followed by positivity, and let people see me living by example.
Yeah,
And then we teach people how to treat us, which is old school, philosophy. But what a beautiful way to be. And it has nothing to do with crown prepping. It's simply communication, enjoying the patient, thanking them for coming in, and enjoying the day, patient by patient, enjoying every moment.
amen. Yep. It's,
Mhm.
um, it's so powerful. All these little things that we're talking about are so powerful. You guys, I know that we've said a lot of different things, but the way that you treat yourself with your words, with what you're eating, with your sleep, um, it's an imperfect process, right? But the key is as you're finding it, that the next choice is different. That the next choice you try to do a little bit better. And even when I have messed up, flubbed up in front of people, forgotten something, whatever it is, because I'm a human, I'll say, you know what? This is my A game today. What can I say? You know, this is
Mhm.
my A game, doing my very best. So cool when people go, hey, I see you. I get that. So give yourself grace and to know that if that next step isn't perfect, that you have another moment to choose differently next time.
Mhm. Yeah, I like that. That's very good.
Yeah. Uchi, I could talk to you for like 12 hours on this. And probably the next time I see you will be, if you guys
We
ever
do a
see,
telethon. Let's do a dental telethon, like Jerry Lewis back in the '70s. Let's do a dental telethon, raising money for something, and just keep the top. Yeah, change the podcast guest.
I think that could be a thing.
Why not? Like, there must be a record for the longest podcast. Like, think about it. Like that would be kind of cool. The longest
That,
podcast.
okay. Yeah. Maybe I've listened to some long ones, probably like 3 hours. Have you listened to 3 hour podcasts?
Andrew Huberman. I'm a big Huberman fan. I do love his stuff, and he has podcast 3 hours. Most people don't have, I think, discipline to listen to for 3 hours. But I just saw the longest. Cory Booker, the senator, had a 25 and a half hour. Never went to the bathroom or took a break. He did. I'm not sure if it was a filibuster or what the exact name of it. He spoke for 25 and a half hours. He set a record in government. I'm not sure if he's a senator or he's a congressman, but Cory Booker spoke for 25 and a half hours. He didn't go to the bathroom. He drank water, but he did not go to the bathroom. And he spoke for 25 hours. He
Did they
quoted
have a
David Lynch.
catheter in? I mean, what?
I don't know. No, they said he might have hurt his body, but the previous record was 23 hours. But look up Cory
Whoa.
Booker spoke for 25 and a half hours.
That's crazy.
And he set a record. And it was all over. Maybe it happened about 2 weeks ago. So Google Cory Booker, senator, set a record. It was 25 and a half hours of speaking. So think
Cool.
about his mouth being lubricated and not being dry. And he didn't go to the bathroom. He did not go to the bathroom for 25 hours.
I can't.
He said he
That's,
trained for it. He trained for it. He
I,
got a standing ovation by both sides. He got a standing ovation on both sides after because who thought some people went home and slept. He kept going for 25 and a half hours. Cory Booker. Pretty crazy.
is it Booker?
BROOKER. He's a Democratic senator or congressman, but
Okay.
25 and a half hours of doing anything is pretty crazy.
Yeah, for
But he
sure.
spoke for 25 and a half hours. Spoke for 25 and a half hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Look at it. I'm not sure if they recorded the whole thing, but look at him at 1 hour, look at him at 10 hours. He looked completely fresh. It was pretty wild to think about. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
passion.
we might need to
That's
do our telethon. We might need to do telethon to raise money for mental health and
for
awareness.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, friends. Well, Uchi, I'm gonna have to have you back again. I hope you enjoyed this episode, that you took some pearls, that even if you were driving, that you wrote down some mental notes or told Siri or something to take a note or a verbal note or whatever it is that you use. And any final words for the audience?
No, I just take action on something you just learned. I think the biggest thing you can do to show that you've learned something is when you learn something new, take action. And if you take action within the next 12 to 24 hours, it becomes a permanent part of you. So
Yes.
if you had an aha by midnight tonight, do something different. And now you will have some neuroplasticity and your brain will remodel to keep that new learning as a permanent part of you. And that's the biggest thing they could do, I feel, every time I
Yeah.
share something.
Yes, that's your challenge.
Yes.
That's your challenge. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining in. I always ask the favor, go onto Apple Podcast and rate it with a 5-star rating. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and press the subscribe button and share it with other people who you may know would love the show. Thank you for all that you do every day to touch the lives of patients. And we will see you next week. Thanks, Suchi.
That sounds good. Thank you.